Welcome back to the workshop here for the STIHL Focus On series. So, you require a high performance blower, but you're not quite sure whether the battery is going to give you the performance you need. Then stay tuned, because today we're going to focus on just that, battery powered professional blowers. My name's Matt, and I'm joined again, of course, by Paul from STIHL Product Management. You're very welcome back there, Paul.
Thank you very much, Matt. I'm looking forward to talking all about our battery-powered blowers today.
Yes, indeed. And we've got one here already on the desk, ready to go. What are the essentials that we need to know when we're looking into this world?
Well, when it comes to any STIHL tool, we always focus on quality, robust tools that are comfortable to use and ergonomic and have the power to do the task at hand. So when we focus on blowers in particular, power is paramount. So with a blower, that comes from a number of different factors.
Right.
You need air speed, and that's the speed of the air going through the blower, which is particularly important when clearing wet leaves.
Right, okay.
We have air throughput, which is the amount of air travelling through the blower to help get the job done.
Okay, which is more important, speed or throughput?
They're both really, really important factors. So it's very easy to get them independently, but the combination of both of those factors together give a true indicator of blower performance. So we actually measure that in newtons, which is the air-speed and the air throughput combined with a measure of newtons to give it the overall performance of a blower. So that's the best spec to really look at.
Okay. I mean, when I'm thinking about blowers, I often think of somebody working in a big area, you know, you're trying to move, like you say, leaves or something in a large area. But I'm mistaken, there are different settings and different applications, right?
Yeah, of course. And we've got a wide range of STIHL blowers, either handheld or backpack blowers. And even on handheld blowers, we've got blowers with a battery slot that are easy to pick up and go and use for a quick, short task, or blowers with a plug-in slot in the back of them, so you can wear the battery on a harness on your waist. Take the weight out of the operator's hands and just make it more comfortable to use the blower for a slightly longer time with a very, very quick and easy to use handheld blower. Got it.
And then there are those that you wear on your shoulders as well, right?
Yeah, of course. We've got backpack blowers too. So whether you're clearing leaves from a large park, as an example, or you're moving around cars and blowing leaves from some tree work or hedge work, then we've got something in the STIHL range for absolutely everybody.
Okay, which one is this then here?
So this is our BGA 250. This is our most powerful handheld blower to date. It's got a battery slot in there, so particularly for tree work or hedge work, it's very easy to pick up quickly.
You can just get going, can't you?
Exactly, just get going straight away and get the task done, but it is our most powerful blower, so it really does pack a punch. We have got a video here, so we can actually see Bianca in action.
Okay.
Having just done some hedge trimming, so we can see how easy that is to clear some leaves at the end of some work.
And here we're looking at those two types of power, right? That throughput and the speed.
Yeah, of course. Air throughput, air speed combined in newtons, and this is our highest newton handheld blower.
Yeah, she's getting that job done, isn't she?
Yeah, it's really, really easy to see her manoeuvre that blower to get the leaves in the right place.
Okay, so we've seen one of the handhelds then, but we talked about these that you can wear on your shoulders as well, right?
Yeah, of course. We've got backpack batteries in the range too, so let's take a quick look. If you move that.
I'll get rid of this.
And I'll put this on the table.
There it is. Okay, what are we looking at here?
So this is our BGA 300. This is our first battery-powered backpack blower. So this is the equivalent in blowing force to our BR 430 petrol-powered backpack blower.
What kind of force is it producing then?
So we just talked about newtons. It's 26 newtons for the BGA 300 and the BR 430. So you're getting the equivalent blowing force from the battery and the petrol tool.
Excellent. What kind of weight are we talking about on the worker's shoulders here?
Well, for the tool on its own, it's 7.4 kilograms. And then we've got a few different options for the batteries to power it. So if we take a look at the AR3000L.
Yeah, that's this one here.
Of course. So this is our most energy-dense battery pack. So this has 1,520 watt-hours energy density. And weighs around 9.5 kilograms.
Okay.
So this is the best option for the longest working times. But we have the AR2000L, which weighs 7.4 kilograms and has 1,015 watt hours. So if you have perhaps a shorter task and you don't need as much weight on your back, then you can choose that as well.
Yeah, makes sense.
But we have other options too. We've got the ADA 1000. If you just bring that over.
No problem. Okay, this is much lighter because it doesn't have any batteries in it as yet.
Exactly, but if you've already got STIHL batteries and the AP batteries, then you can use this adapter. So once you've done your hedge trimming or grass trimming,
I can take the batteries from those tools, put it in here, and then use it with the backpack blower.
exactly
Got
that.
it.
So we've got our AP 500S batteries are our largest capacity AP batteries. Those weigh 2 kilograms each, so 2 of them in here would weigh 5.9 kilograms. So again, less than the 7.4 on the AR2000L. So there's an option for every clearing task.
Right, and exactly. So it would depend on maybe the distance I want to go or the task that I'm doing, and that would depend on how much weight I would want to carry and how much power I would have, right?
Exactly that. So with
Okay.
the AR3000L, you've got between 61 and 140 minutes working time.
Wow.
Which is a lot of working time.
Yeah.
And that depends on the actual level of blowing force you use. With the BGA 300, you've actually got 3 levels and the boost function. So you can
Boost
choose-
function.
Exactly. Everyone likes the boost function.
Yeah.
But you can really choose the level appropriate to the task. So
And then that would affect how much battery time I get, right?
precisely that. But it's all about energy management. So if you are clearing leaves on a pathway or on a road, perhaps you wouldn't need to use the full blowing power,
Yeah.
and you could conserve your battery. And then when you get to the trickier stuff or some stubborn leaves or stubborn dirt that you're trying to clear, you can use the boost function there. So battery management is a really, really key topic.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Okay, let's see it in action then, which we've got in this video here. This is STIHL, our colleague, and he's working with this version here, right?
Yep, he's using the ADA 1000, 2 AP 500S batteries on his back to reduce the weight, and it just makes it a little bit more comfortable for him.
So I see over your shoulder a slightly different machine. What can you tell me about that?
Well, let's get it on the table and take a look.
I like that. All right, I'll put the batteries away.
And I'll get the BGA 100.
And that goes with the cable with this harness system, right?
Yes, it does. So this is the BGA 100, a really, really lightweight and agile machine that rather than having a slot underneath the tool like we saw on the BGA 250 earlier, this can plug in.
Yes.
And you can wear the battery on your belt.
Got
So
it.
you can strap that in comfortably and work really, really freely. And if you're going around cemeteries perhaps, or around trees or around flower beds, you need to be a lot more agile. You've got the really lightweight blower, only 2.5 kilograms,
Right.
so you can move that around very freely and easily.
And what kind of power are we getting from this?
We're talking 17 newtons here, so
Okay.
you're still getting a really good amount of blowing force, and you can really clear a lot of leaves and debris with that. But it is the key thing about this is that it's a lot lighter at 2.5 kilograms.
And then there's the other one as well that's hanging here.
That's the BGA 200.
Okay,
So
bit of space on the workbench there.
as the name depicts, we've got an increase in numbers here.
Right.
So we're moving up in weight up to 3.2 kilograms, but blowing performance, the all-important number, is 21 newtons.
Okay, so yeah, significantly more powerful. So again, that would be for a different type of task, would it?
Yeah, so if you're clearing more heavy or more dense leaf fall, perhaps, then you can move up to the blower with more blowing force. And again, you've got the ability to plug into this tool. So there's no weight in the tool with a battery. That's still on your waist, and it's still very agile and very easy to maneuver around. So another option in the STIHL range.
Okay, what the people watching at home can't see is there's like a clip system on the other side here.
Yeah,
What's going on here?
This is our comfort carrying system, or part of our comfort carrying system, where this clip actually slots into a hip belt based carrying system.
Right.
So the BGA 200 can be used as an agile handheld blower, but if you're doing longer working tasks where you want to be more comfortable and slot it into your hip belt, you can do that as well.
And you got a video, right?
Yeah, exactly. We've got a video here.
You see it slipping in there.
It's slotted in, so the weight's on the user's hip rather than in their hand. It's got cruise control too, so you can put it into whatever power mode you need and then drive it from actually the front handle there.
Yes.
So holding that, not pulling any triggers, it's just very, very easy to manoeuvre and move around as you need to.
Smooth. I like it. What is also smooth is this very sort of aerodynamic, geometric shape here. What's all that about?
Well, there's a big reason for that.
Okay.
If you bring over the BGA 250,
Yeah.
we'll talk about that a little bit more. And I'll put the BGA 100 back here.
We'll clear a little bit of space. I'll get rid of this. Okay.
Excellent. So the BGA 250 is a really good example of how much effort goes into designing our tools, and there is a reason for the design on every single tool.
It's not just to look snazzy.
No, not just that. So when it comes to using a blower, you want to have a really comfortable tool that you can manoeuvre around nice and simply.
Sure.
So in this case, we've got the handle here, and the battery slot is directly under the handle.
Yeah.
So that just means it's really, really well balanced and really well weighted. The nozzle's pointing down at the material you're trying to clear as well, so when it's in your hand, it just hangs directing straight at the leaves that you're clearing, so you don't have to angle your wrist or manoeuvre your wrist around in angles that you aren't really comfortable with.
So it's not like a machine where you've just slapped on 2 batteries at the back, for example. There's a reason why it's designed like that.
Exactly. It's the same with every tool. The battery's in exactly the right position and in exactly the right place for perfect balance and more ergonomics whilst working.
Okay, I want to test this, so I'm going to get a battery.
Get the AP300S in there.
Okay.
We'll get some goggles as well. As safety
Very important.
first.
Thank you,
go.
sir. And we will test if this balances. Well, it certainly balances now. I mean, I'm holding that with one finger.
Perfect balance.
And then in action. Again, one finger.
Yep. So of course you're getting a little bit of pushback from the tool as it has got quite a lot of blowing force in there, but there's no gyroscopic forces on your wrist or twisting action. And when you've got that comfortably down by your side, it's really, really easy to use.
Okay, continuing the subject of ergonomics, what about the hand ergonomics? As I'm holding the device, where my fingers go, what's the contribution there?
Well, everything's designed to be within easy reach. So you've got your chosen power level here, you've got your cruise control here and the trigger underneath. But if you want to choose the boost function, it's important you're not actually having to move your thumb again. If you've chosen your power level, you can actually use the trigger underneath the tool just to pull it a little bit further, so you're not having to take your thumb off the handle just to activate the boost. So if you need that little bit of extra power, it's all within very, very easy reach there. Just pull the trigger.
Okay, I can totally see the advantages of that, but if I'm totally honest, is it such a big deal to move your thumb over? I mean...
It is not a big deal, but it's all these little refinements and these little choices we make to make it much easier to use overall. So one less movement and you can just pull the boost trigger nice and easily.
Makes sense. I get it. Another part of the holistic experience, I guess, working with tools like this is the sound, right? I just heard the sound as I did my test here in the workshop. They do make a certain amount of noise. What contribution do you make there to try and suppress that?
Well, noise is a really, really important topic, especially when it comes to blowers. So in the petrol market, they can emit large amounts of noise. It's very easy to make a battery-powered blower a lot quieter. Naturally, they haven't got the petrol engine running.
Right.
So it's a simple thing to make a quieter tool. But we don't stop there. It's not just about the decibel level. It's about the tone of the noise coming out of the blower as well.
Right.
And that can either give a user and the surrounding people a pleasant experience or an unpleasant experience.
So it's not only about volume levels, it's about the quality of the sound, right?
Yeah, so you have to have a holistic approach, not just looking at the spec sheet and seeing the decibel levels there, but actually the tone of the blower can be a really, really important thing. So listening to the tone is quite a key thing.
Okay, and you've got a video where you compare sounds of 2 machines, right?
Yeah, my colleague Toby here in the STIHL training team has prepared a nice little demonstration comparing 2 similarly powered, sound power levelled blowers.
Right.
One from STIHL, one from another manufacturer. So you can actually hear, while they're the same or similar on a spec sheet, they are very different in real life in the tone of the machines.
Let's check it out then.
So first in the comparison test of the STIHL BGA 250. And then we have a competitor product. So you can see there, it's not just about looking at the spec sheet, it's about the real world experience.
It definitely is. I certainly have my opinion of which I would rather listen to, but it would interest us to know what your opinion is. Of those 2 products that you've just seen and heard, which one was your favourite? Final point on the subject of sound. Do I have to wear ear defenders when I'm using these products?
Not with the handheld blowers we've seen today, the BGA 100, the 200 and the 250 we've got here. You don't need to wear ear defenders. So the overall sound experience is better for the professional user and also for the people in the environments where you're doing the clearing. So whether in schools, hospitals or in offices, you get a pleasant experience overall.
Okay, so it's time to talk about that all-important subject, quality, and I'm sure you've got my favourites, a couple of tests.
Of course, yeah. So before we look at the tests, it's really important that these tools remain lightweight. They're easily manoeuvrable, but are also robust. As we know, these tools are put in the back of a van or a truck, so they have to withstand that.
They're put through their paces, aren't they?
Precisely that. So we make sure the tools are robust, but also lightweight. So we do some tests. There's obviously standards we need to meet, but still are all about meeting those standards and then exceeding those standards. So we have a standard drop test, and then we go that little bit further. And of course,
so you drop them from higher than the test standards dictate.
Exactly. So here we've got the BGA 250, easily withstanding that fall from a higher height. And you'll notice we've got the battery in the slot. The battery is nicely protected there. It's not just on the back of the tool exposed to that fall, it's hidden within the tool. So that's an extra layer of protection for your battery, but the tool is certainly withstanding that drop test too.
Indeed, still all in one piece. So the next important part is the moving parts that the user is using regularly, right? All of the switches and stuff.
Yeah, of course. These tools will be used for a long period of time, and the trigger will be pulled and the buttons will be pressed over and over again. So it's important they go through an endurance test. Here we've got the BGA 250 set up on a rig with the blower actually having the triggers pulled, blowing, and then released again, and then over and over again. So fortunately we've got a machine to do that.
Yes, absolutely right. Okay, and again you're drawing all of the data and the diagnostics from that to learn from it and improve the quality, right?
Exactly, and make sure it lasts the amount of time the tool is expected to last for.
Yeah, I get it. Okay, durability very important, usability important, but at the end of the day, it's got to have power. You've got to test the power as well, right?
Exactly. Yeah, power is it's what we've been talking about a lot earlier.
Right.
And it's actually more about all the individual components working nicely together. So we don't just make a product, put it all in the housing and the shell and say we're satisfied with that. We change the components and make sure we've got the best combination of possible components to get the best power out of the machine. So we've got a small video here which shows us testing that combination of components before we are happy to release a machine to the market.
So this here is blowing against this plate, and it's the force and the pressure and the power produced by the machine is being tested here, right?
Yeah, exactly. We're just measuring the blowing performance there, blowing the plates, but what we're really measuring inside is that combination of components and getting that ideal combination together in there to make the BGA 250 what it is.
I've got to say, I do love your tests. They're really exciting. And then there's one final video that you've brought, which kind of wraps it all up together, doesn't it? Explain what we're seeing here.
So what we've got here are two areas set out, testing a STIHL BGA 250 on the left versus a competitor product on the right hand side. When you're using a battery, it's natural for the voltage to decline as you use that battery.
Okay.
We have technology that increases the amps as the voltage drops, so you get constant power. What we're actually seeing here is constant power on the left, but a decline in power on the right hand side with a competitor model. So as you get to the end, you've got less power than when you started, and so he's having a bit more of a task to actually clear those leaves at the end.
Exactly, he ends up needing a lot more time to finish the project, right?
Yeah, about 20% more time overall,
right?
To do exactly the same task with blowers that both started with the same power. So you don't want that decline in power. With all STIHL batteries, in the AP system we have this smart technology that increases those amps as the voltage drops, so you get constant power.
So in that comparison video that we just saw, 20% faster. I mean, if you work that out in hours, if it's a 5-hour job, you're getting it done in 4 hours. I mean, that's significant difference, isn't it?
Yeah, it could be a significant difference. So, but we've talked about power a lot today. Power is really important, and not just the power on the spec sheet at the start, it's the constant power throughout the entire use. So
the real world power.
Real world experiences, exactly that.
So those components that you were talking about, for me, to represent STIHL quality, it's all about how those components work hand in hand with one another, right? And
Precisely that.
To understand that, you've brought this fascinating sort of cut through, and there we can see all of the components.
Yeah, exactly. So this is a cutaway model of the BGA 250. So all our chosen components working in harmony together there. But the key thing here is actually all the connections to these components can be disconnected. So if there was a failure or if a repair needed to be made after an accident, you can actually replace all these individual components.
So they're not
easily.
glued down, are they?
No, they're not glued down. You just take them out very easily, click them back in place and slot that back in. But if you look at the mouldings here, you've got a round moulding, so there's no chance of kinking a cable in there. So it's really, really easy to work on and simple to work on to get the repair done in a quick and less costly fashion.
No sharp edges to cut cables or anything like that.
No, exactly that.
So that makes it more sustainable, presumably, because you don't have to replace the whole machine, just individual parts.
Yeah, exactly. They're not glued in place. And for instance, on the bottom here, these connectors, they're not soldered together. They're just crimp connectors, so you can easily disconnect them and then connect them back up again.
Absolutely brilliant. Fascinating stuff. So easy to repair, easy to get the right parts, the right components, and just replace one for one.
Yeah, exactly. Our professional users know they're STIHL approved dealers really well. So they have our support with all the spare parts should they need them, and they're fully trained to repair any of the tools to get the operators back on the road as soon as possible.
They've got the STIHL expertise.
Precisely that. Very trained by us.
Very trained. Another person who's got STIHL expertise is you, of course, Paul. Thank you so much for sharing it with us today. It's been a blast.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
And thank you guys for dropping by. That was the latest Focus On episode from STIHL. We hope you enjoyed it. We hope you learned one or two things along the way as well. Let us know in the comments how we're doing, what's of interest to you, and we will endeavour to pass those messages on to the right department. Until next time, don't forget to ring the bell and subscribe to the channel. It's the only way that you can find out the next time Paul has got some insights to share. But until the next time, from all of us here in the workshop, take care of yourselves and cheerio.